Hi guys, thanks for coming, especially on such short notice. It's not common for us to do this on a Monday night, but Ian and Emily are understandably busy for the next several days, so we tried to squeeze this in when we were able to. Before we get started, there are some Flagstaff famous folks already in the audience, so I know your story and I know what your involvement is in this. How many of you are racing Stagecoach this weekend, just so we can get an idea? Okay, so that's most of the crew.
How can we get a count on 55K versus 100 mile?
It's your thing.
Who's doing the 100? Is this your first Stagecoach? Is this your first 100? Oh, wow. Okay, awesome. Who's doing the 55K? How is first ultra? Yes. Not you guys. Second. All right. Oh, great.
Mountain bike in my first race ever.
Oh, right on.
Nice.
Well, thanks for choosing Stagecoach to do that, everybody. So let's appreciate it. What's that?
Pacers.
All right. Woo.
Shout out to the support crew and Pacers.
Yeah. Cool.
So over the years, for the shops part, I've been in Stagecoach a few times. Once I ran the relay, the first leg of the relay on year one. Tried to do it again, and we got rained out that year. And since then, for some time, not the entire time, but we've timed it. So most of my time on the course has been spent in a van or a trailer, or driving through some mud, or picking up equipment, or dropping off equipment, or mitigating whatever timing disaster we might have. But what occurred to me was that over the years, that is nothing in comparison to what I have witnessed Ian and Emily go through to put this thing on, which I've never run an ultra. So that 26-mile leg for that trail run was the longest trail run I've ever done. Actually, I was more a track guy, so I've never had the opportunity. But I've often wondered what's harder, running it or directing it. And I don't have a reference point for either, so I'll let you guess. But from my end, as a witness to it and seeing both ends, I will say directing it seems hard. It seems like a lot of work. And the volunteers that go out there are not in a built-out Sprinter van. So as much as I could say, man, this is exhausting, I am A, being paid, and B, sheltered and usually warm. My worst case scenario is once I drove to town to come back and wash the van off because it got too muddy, and then drove back out. And that's as bad as it ever got for me. So I never really had the most difficult end of this. So I wanted to try and focus on two things. My first thing was Ian and Emily have not lived in town for how long now?
How
long has it been?
4 years.
4
probably,
years.
Since 2021.
Okay.
End of 2021.
So for a little background, those of you that don't know Ian and Emily personally, they're very hard to keep up with. I was thinking about it on the way over. I was thinking, what would I ask if I could ask whatever, and we could discuss whatever. And I don't really know. Ian and Emily have been on the board of Team Run Flagstaff with me at various points. They have both had extraordinarily elite running careers, both on the ultra end, the track end, the marathon end, depending on where and whom you want to start with. I'll let you read their Wikipedia pages if you want more background on all of that. It is hard and I was thinking within the context of which I've known them here. I met Ian on a bagel run in 2006.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I'm not that memorable, but I remember him. So we were there, and Ian showed up, and I think we went for 10 miles, and a mutual friend, Mike Freeberg, introduced us, and Mike's like, oh yeah, Ian runs 100-milers. I'd never heard of that before. I grew up in New York and then lived in North Carolina and then came out here. So Ian was officially the first person I ever met that I knew of that had accomplished a 100-mile race. I thought that was a little crazy. And then Ian left and went to Ashland, Oregon, and then came back and worked at the shop for a little while, which was, I don't know how long that was, months, maybe? Maybe. It was short-lived.
You let me keep the key for a while.
There are a lot of keys floating around. That goes to show you the professionalism that was Run Flagstaff in 2009, 2010. Ian came in one day, this occurred to me as well. Ian came in one day and he said, I like your store, I don't want to work here anymore. I was like, cool, no offense taken. But one thing I learned then, and I never forgot, was that if Ian doesn't really want to do something, he's not going to do it. Because I had a similar experience when he was on the board of Team Run Flagstaff, and he said, this is a nice organization, I don't want to do this anymore. And that was very clear cut. If you reach that point, he's done. But this thing has kept going for how long? How many years in are we?
Well, this will be year 12 of the race actually happening, but 13 if you count the missed COVID year. We did miss 1 year for that.
Did we
See,
have
that's
it?
what I did, but I didn't see results.
You did it.
See, there we go.
What did you do?
Rob Hall did it.
Yeah, I think I vaguely remember that. Yeah,
So
we didn't
13
hold.
years.
Yeah. So you,
Nice.
you
Nice.
carried the torch. Yeah.
So we're going to start with that.
Yeah.
So Stagecoach for 13 years. Well, you don't live here anymore. Where do you live?
Right now we're in Rapid City, South Dakota.
How come? How come we're still doing this?
Yeah, so 4 years ago, I got the itch to return to the National Park Service. You know, things in life change. You're not as focused on my own running. We have a coaching company and we coach athletes, and I love doing that, and we still do that. And but I like to diversify and experience other things. So I got permission to start applying back because I have a history with the Park Service. Started working with the Park Service in 1995, but that's been an on and off. I've done that too, like gone into bosses say, I'm leaving. I'm not going to work here anymore. I'm going to go do something else. So it's common. It's
You
common
didn't
thread
hurt my
with me.
feelings. I'm okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm just.
I don't know.
I'm trying to let
I
you
think
know
there's
that
still
it's,
some hurt in
it's
there.
not you, Vince.
take
But I
it.
wanted to go back to the Park Service, and I got permission to Emily to start applying for jobs, and I got a job at Death Valley. That was 21. Yeah, and so we moved to Death Valley, lived in Death Valley for 2 years. That was easy to say, I'm done here. I liked working there. The experience was incredible. The people were really cool. The park is really cool, but the living conditions were really, really tough, and you're just far away from things. So I started putting my feelers out for other Park Service jobs, and yeah, got the position in Rapid City. Big pay raise and a lot more responsibility, and something I wanted to try, and so that's what we did. We moved to Rapid City, and we're still there. Still there.
Yeah.
So in spite of all that and that change, you guys kept the race and you keep coming back.
Yeah.
And we've got all the stuff in a little storage space
Yeah.
off of Aztec.
Correct.
Okay. Which gets used for the downtown mile and everything else when he's not in town. So that's been great for us because I have a key and I just go take whatever I need for
Yeah.
our stuff, which has been awesome. But how, so from an outside perspective, you guys are doing the race, and it just appears. So we put on the downtown mile. It lasts 3 hours, start to finish, and I'm pretty tired when we're done. Like, that was a lot. You guys don't sleep for 2 days, right? At least.
At least.
Yeah, it's close to
A ton of prep, covering 100 miles. How many aid stations?
that. 11.
And how many volunteers?
A lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I've been posted up at the finish with, Jen and Dana. They're not sleeping. So your volunteers don't sleep either. And if you're running the 100, you're not sleeping either. So in spite of the move, in spite of all that time away, and in spite of all the other things you have going on in your life, how have you guys, I guess my question is for you, what's the why?
Emily? It's my fault.
Well, I think it's something that we started from somewhat grassroots. It was a collaboration to begin with. So Ian was approached with an idea was it from Babbitt? From Billy? Or was it
Neil,
Neil? Yeah, there was a
Billy,
group.
Matt Nelson, and even Forest Service was there too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So there was a ground floor participation on our end in terms of making this thing happen from nothing to what it is now, and I think that is a big draw in terms of continuing to come back each year and every year is a different experience. You think you'd have it dialed in, but there's always something that's a little bit different just to keep you on your toes. So, but yeah, I think it's just because we have been doing it since the very beginning. That right now, that's why we've continued to do it. It's our baby, if you will, and we have close connections with those folks still, like Neil, who were also on the ground floor. Neil's been at Hall Cabin every single year, working that aid station at mile 80.
Except the year that a certain team
Oh.
flew by me at Oakland Station.
Yeah.
You got to be faster, man.
Hey, I was on that team too, so
Yeah,
I'm
it's true. True.
Nick was off driving in the woods somewhere that I don't know where. Anyway,
That's right.
so I mean,
Yeah.
you have more to add to the why.
Yeah, it's a
That
good. I like who we work with. I like, the organizations. We're raising money for the Arizona Trail Association, and Flagstaff's a trail town for that trail, and it works, and we like it. And I think the thing is, like Emily said, we birthed this race, and it's still our child, so we're still fostering that.
Yeah, and it's we think it's a unique event too, being point to point, starting in Flagstaff, going up to Tucson. There's not very many. I mean, there's definitely point to point 100-milers out there, but they're getting a little rarer in some instances. So it's a unique aspect to the race.
Yeah.
What would you say, from a runner's perspective, for those that are doing it the first time? What would you say top 3 pieces of advice? If you've never done it before, have no idea what to expect.
Yeah. So, can I go? Okay.
You've got it ready.
Yeah, and the first is the heat. Even if temperatures look cool and they're in the 70s, it doesn't feel like that up here. So from Kelly to Cedar, for 100-milers, from Kelly to, it depends on how fast you're moving, but almost to Chapel,
It's an alarm.
that is really, really hot. You're exposed, it's warm. The distances between aid stations is far, so you have to make sure you carry your water. Just be ready. Pretend you're running in the desert in June, in July. That's how I equate it. People get behind on nutrition and fluid in that section, and then they pay for it later. Second is, it gets really cold. And at night, even though temperatures say it's gonna be 50 degrees, it feels like it's freezing. Especially after you've been running for 50 plus miles, your body is in a weakened state and you're more susceptible to the cold temperatures. So carry warm weather gear, be ready to be cold. And I learned in winter mountaineering the phrase feed 'em and beat 'em. So when you get cold, it's time to eat and it's time to move. And so you got to keep moving, can't linger. So you want to stay fueled again. And that's why we have that mandatory, for the 100-milers, we have a mandatory drop bag at Boundary Aid Station, because if we don't do that, people don't believe us, and then they end up in the pain cave. So we make everyone pack some warm weather gear, and that way they have it in the middle of the night. And then the third thing is that the course isn't flat. It looks flat, except for maybe a climb at the beginning. People are deceived by that. It's always rolling, always up and down, and there are sections with those baby bobblehead rocks, grapefruit-sized rocks that you have to pick your way through, that really slow you down and really work the ancillary muscles, and you can fatigue really fast that way. So it's easier just to, if you're going to do some hiking, those are good sections to do hiking. Hiking that first climb, maybe that's a good idea too, most of it anyway. But saving yourself for when you can really make some time on some of those gradual downhills, like from Bismarck Lake to Cedar. You've got this this downhill trend, save your energy for that so you can maximize your movement.
Sounds good.
Anything else?
No, I think also don't underestimate the distance between aid stations. So just make sure you're carrying enough and planning appropriately in between. So some of those can feel long, especially late in the race when you're not moving as quickly.
Yeah, from Chapel to Boundary, you got to do a half marathon with nothing. And for most, it's be in the dark. And that section of trail, it's a nice section of trail, but each pinyon pine, juniper, looks like the last one you just passed. And it can be really soul-sucking in there. So just be ready for that with food and water.
One other question, I think, and then we'll open it up because these guys are doing the run and they probably have some specific things that they want to cover. It seems like in every race, no matter what the distance is, there's always a point that feels the most challenging. It doesn't necessarily tie directly into how far in you are, right? So you could be a third of the way, have a really tough go, or you could be halfway through, 2/3 of the way through. Is there any point on this course, based on what you've seen over the years, that you would say universally, if someone's really going to struggle mentally, that it tends to happen like there? Like if you're like, okay, there's one point over 100 miles where over a 12 or 13 year span, if somebody's dropped, it's usually there. And if so, what is that? What is that spot?
It's Boundary and Hall. Mm-hmm. Those are the two places people resign. They get to Boundary and they haven't been doing what I just talked about, taking care of themselves. And the night just fell and they're cold and they don't have adequate weather gear. At Hall, they just did the Coconino Rim section. And again, it's an awesome piece of trail, but in the dark, all those ponderosa pines look the same, and all those little sweepy turns on the trail look the same, and it goes on for a long, it's a long section, 10 miles or so. So yeah, it's just hard to stay motivated. But you get past Hall and everyone's in the light after that, and the sun's coming up. And sun coming up is magical. It can really change an attitude and a perspective. And just waiting for that before making decisions is always a good thing, I think.
So that was my follow-up question. Do you think that when that happens, the majority of the people that have called it there are really, truly tapped out? Or do you think you're just so mentally drained that what you're physically capable of is not conceivable at that point?
Yeah, I mean, we do have cutoffs there. It's 8 a.m. Sunday morning. People get frustrated because they're right at cutoff and they don't think they'll make the next cutoff at Watson. They don't want to waste the time doing that. But, my saying is until you're physically told you cannot go further, you should keep going further. And I think that, I lost my train of thought, but.
That was pretty good at end on.
Yeah,
If you wanted to
the sun coming up is good. And yeah, cutoffs are hard there. People get to that point and they can't really run anymore, and people don't want to hike for 20 miles, and they're like, hiking for 20 miles? That's silly. Well, you entered a 100-mile race. So you just have to change your outlook, maybe sit down for a while and eat something. A lot of decisions are made on low blood sugar, and when we do that, we make poor decisions. And just kind of getting warm, getting fed, seeing the sun come up, that can change outlooks. And just remember, you set aside the weekend to do this long, arduous event, and remembering what are you going to do, go home, play, I used to say Nintendo, but I guess what is it now? What do people do?
I don't know.
Call of Duty 15? I don't know. But anyway, you set aside the time. This is just do it, maximize your time. Since you're here, you've gone that far, might as well punish yourself the rest of the way. So
I do think people make those hasty decisions more so at Boundary, though. Again, cutoffs there can be an issue, but I think a lot of people struggle mentally at Boundary because you have gone through nightfall setting in and that transition, and your mood changes. And usually by that point in the race, you are starting to get a little bit more depleted. You've come through the heat of the day. So those factors start to play a role more so. And I do feel people make hasty decisions at boundary. They're like, we're done, but it's a long way out. So if you find yourself in that position, maybe reconsider, because if you don't have a way out, you're going to be sitting there for a while.
Yeah, and I think to that point, crew and pacers are really important in this role, because it's easy, right? Your runner comes in like, I'm done. They're like, sweet, we can go back to the Airbnb and like chill out and go to sleep.
Yeah.
And it's easy to just roll it up and go away, but you also are responsible for your runner, and you need to remember that your responsibility is to get that runner to the finish line. So just you've got to suffer as well, and that's what you signed up for, and that's why you're here. And so just
I think that part, to me, from an outside perspective to hear, is super important, because if I was at the cutoff and I looked at my watch and I'm like, all right, I got 10 minutes, and the first thing that would probably occur to me is I'm holding people up. So on behalf of the volunteers, as a race director, when you see someone that approaches a cutoff, how would you feel about that? Somebody was like, I can't keep these guys out here any longer. I'm dragging. I may not make it. Would you be of the mindset that it's like, oh, hey, thank you for the consideration? Or would you be like, no, you need to keep on and do it?
you need to keep moving forward, like I said, until someone removes you from the course. And I've had to be that bad guy. I've had to go out on the course in between aid stations, catch a runner, and be like, you're done. You have to get in my truck. We're taking you back to the finish. And I've had that conversation, and it's never fun. And then post-race, I get the hate mail from the family members, you know. But we have cutoffs for reasons. We have, first of all, it's a safety reason. We have a permit to adhere to. Course closes. We got to be out of there. Forest Service doesn't want us setting up house. We have volunteers out there, so we have to be respectful of their time as well. And so those cutoffs are there for a reason. It's not just to make the race more difficult. But if you're still moving and you're still alive and breathing and you still have time, we will make you move forward. We're there till the end of the race. So, yeah.
I've seen that. I mean, you see that on the timing end sometimes on the long events when we're out there for a long time. You know, it's been a long few days, even if you're working it. And you'll see somebody kind of come through. I always think we've had people come through last in many races, not just this race, but 10-hour marathon, you know, out in Window Rock. And every so often somebody will be like, oh man, I can't believe you guys are still here. Thank you. Thank you for staying. It's like, I'm here till you're here. You know, it's like, I don't go home till you're done, you know. So I think that part's important to hear, and I think it's cool. And I've seen a lot of people come through that legitimately were making it in the window, but still very self-conscious that they were at that point at that time. And I think if you're in a race where people are doing it from the right place, there, you know, that time is your time. What questions do you guys have? Yeah, go ahead.
Will there be like good coordinates for the feed zones if we plan on having someone out there?
Yes. Yeah, there on the website, there is a whole course manual. So I read the race manual, and then there's also a separate thing with additional course information and instructions. And we have GPS coordinates in there, written directions as well for crew to access those aid stations. I will say, try to rely on that information and not just Google Maps, because that does not always go well out there in the backcountry.
We've had to have people call wreckers to come get their trucks or their vehicles out because they were following Google Maps and it told them to go this way.
Like, here's this wonderful shortcut.
Yeah,
It's not a good
the
idea.
information on the website is the go-to. So use the written directions, use the GPX course directions. Yeah.
It's a lot of dirt roads, but they're all pretty accessible, except for Boundary, which could be iffy.
On that,
Yes.
back when I ran it the last time in 2016, we didn't have chapel because that was a different course, whatever. But so to get to Boundary, the directions had us go past Valley and then in that way. And you don't have that on the course, on your driving directions any longer. Is that still accessible?
Yeah,
to get
if
there?
you know where you're going, you can go that way. Yeah, I think if they're going to, if you're crewing and you go to Chapel, then you're probably going to Boundary from Chapel. Yeah. Yep.
Coming out to Boundary to drop the basement.
Yep. Yep.
Good option.
Yes.
Do you ever pull bikers off the course if there's like a significant amount of rain and there's a little bit like peanut butter mud?
Well, we've never pulled anyone off the course, and we've had peanut butter mud. And the trail was no worse for wear. Environmentally speaking, it went okay, and they were muddy, and their bikes were muddy.
Yeah.
That year was crazy.
They came into the finishes head to toe.
Yeah,
just
the
covered.
problem is we're in locations that may or may not be experiencing the same experience that the runner or the biker is experiencing, and so it's hard for me to make those decisions, or and then we have another issue of like, if we pull people from a course, how do we transport them? So it's just better for us if you just keep going and get to where you're going. And
safety for us to access it too may not be.
yeah,
Might take some time.
Yep, yeah. So we may be causing more environmental damage by getting to you than you moving forward on a bike. So does that answer your question and your concerns? Cool. Yeah.
Which one?
Anyway, oh, sorry. Yes.
I was able to download the GPX for the trail, which was great. You don't have to have a GPX for the driving directions at all, do you?
Yes, we do.
You do?
It is on the website. Just keep scrolling through it. It's in there.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you.
If not, email me and I will direct you directly.
Okay.
Follow up to the other question. If it is wet, how much of it is serious mud? I'm just trying to think of what tires they're going to bring.
It is supposed to potentially rain, so I think there'll be some wet. That section between, well, this entire course, except for like maybe the first, I mean, up to Kelly, you'll probably be okay, and then after that, it's the 5 pounds on your foot type of mud, depending on how much comes down, how much precip we get. I would just be prepared for mud a little bit anyway, and I don't think it's going to slow you down. This course is a mountain bike course. It is not a gravel course. I think strength and endurance is going to win out over speed. Yeah.
And following up on what Ian mentioned is that we've had storms roll through that hit a latter portion of the course, like it was hitting Russell Tank Hall Cabin area, but then the first part of the course didn't see any rain. So we have had those pockets of storms roll through, and it makes a mess in one spot, but not somewhere else. So unless we've just had steady rain, sometimes it can be hit or miss when that happens. Yeah.
Could the potentially muddy, wet roads be harder for crew to get in and out if you guys had issues?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I recommend definitely high clearance for sure, no matter what the weather is. 4-wheel drive, if you have it, is smart if rain is in the forecast. And the good thing is there's no precipitous cliffs or downhills really. It's for driving, it's pretty flat. I mean, there is topography, but there's nothing crazy where you're gonna, knock on wood, that you're gonna slide off and get stuck. But we've had, everyone who's stayed to the driving directions has never gotten pulled out. It's people who go off of those directions or use Google Maps and use a really, really obscure road to try to get somewhere, do they get in trouble? They've reworked a lot of those roads around Boundary, and it's a lot easier now than it was 10 years ago, 8 years ago. There was a question in the back.
Any advice for first-time relay runners?
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Preview the course directions. Yeah, definitely just make sure everyone's familiar with the directions, the driving directions specifically. And because I think that's the big thing with relays is trying to get to those exchange points and people missing each other. Do you have another?
Yeah, I think that's
probably the top thing I would recommend.
Yeah, I would allot extra time to get to spots so you're not stressed. So if you do take a wrong turn, you can backtrack and find your way without stressing. Luckily, we don't have a lot of Starbucks along the course. I know people, Western States, we see their runner go off up the hill, and then we're like, everyone's going back to town for coffee and pancakes. And then you're like, what? No, just see your runner at the start and then start moving towards the first aid station or exchange and move along like that efficiently. I would, if you're a relay runner who has just done like road relays or track relays, that the trail is much different. Following directions, having directions with you, knowing the route, at least having a visualization of where you need to go and how to get there, remembering key turns, things like that. I think that's really important.
Yeah, we do have some relay runners themselves who get turned around because they miss some flagging because they're not used to that sort of environment. So just make sure you're staying aware and looking ahead and paying attention.
Can I add one from experience?
Yes.
So I think, the first year we did it with a relay. And there is something about the prep on a relay that is never taken as seriously as somebody who's doing this solo. It's got a 10-mile leg. A 10-mile leg of this thing at 2 a.m. is hard to do, and it is very hard to see. And I think where we got jammed most is we were ill-equipped on headlamps because we just didn't. We're just like, it's just no, this shouldn't be a big deal. It's just 10 miles or whatever. And there's something about that mindset where it's like, I'm not going to buy a headlamp for a 10-mile, whatever. And then we did have a runner out there that couldn't see, and ended up, one of the volunteers was a buddy and just ran it with her. And he just helped her find her because she's like, I can't see anything. I don't know where I'm going. And True was out there. So he just ran the whole leg with Sarah. So also, if you guys still allow it, I do think the buddy thing's kind of cool for the relay runners at night. If you can pull it off, having company.
We allow it.
I think they asked to not have a pacer on the relay without special permission.
We allow it if you let me know.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you pay $1 million.
Fair. Fair. Just to make sure I fully understood the change to the Camp Colton aid station for the first aid station. What mile is that at? 6?
Camp Colton's around, it'll be 7 or 8 miles in, but the exchange isn't there.
Right.
It's still at Fern.
Yep.
Just a mile down the road. Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
And all the rest of the exchanges are at the main aid station, so
Yep.
it makes it a lot easier.
I didn't actually catch that. So you're not going up to the Hart Prairie thing?
We're not doing Hart Prairie. They have a big meeting. So we're using Camp Colton as the first.
So do we run off the road then?
You'll just go up the driveway at Camp Colton. I'm going out there tomorrow to get specifics, but yeah, you'll just dive into camp off the road, up the driveway. Yep. And you're doing to compensate for the mile missed at the TNC. You're going to be doing an out and back at, yes, Rob. Because if I don't, people will get angry. You're going to do an out and back at Hot Shots in the morning. So you'll right at the start, you'll do an out and back. I'll explain it. If you come to the meeting or in the morning, it'll make sense. Yep.
That's to make the first leg 10.
What's that?
That's to make the first leg 10.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Love it.
I was a little excited because it'll be a little short.
PR.
Do bikers have to do the there and back?
No. Biker route is unaffected by the course change. They didn't go to TNC and they won't be going to Camp Colton, so they just bike the same.
Which meeting is this that you just referenced?
We have virtual meeting tomorrow night on the Zoom at 6. If you need that information, contact me. I sent it out on Ultra Sign Up, our communications blast there. It's also in the course manuals now. So if you go to the course manuals, I threw the links into the course manuals for both the bikers and the runners. And you could join us tomorrow at 6 for the runners, and on Wednesday night at 6 is the bikers. Yep.
Are any areas where there's like multiple ways you could go? They're like super, very clearly marked. Which way is the right?
It's okay. Are you talking about anywhere specific, or are you just
Just in general.
okay?
Ever two options.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
We are marking the course with ribbon and flagging, pin flags and ribbon hanging from trees in the night, in the day you'll see that. And at night, those things will may or may not have reflective material on them, so your headlamps will catch them. But remember, you're also on the Arizona Trail, except for the first section, the first 10 miles or so. We get off and do Hart Prairie Road. And then you have a couple little out and backs to go to Boundary, to go to Moki, and to go to Hall. Those are little out and backs. But other than that, Arizona Trail, and Arizona Trail is marked with carcinite posts, and it's a trail tread. There are tricky turns out there, but we know where those are, and I'm having my course markers really mark those heavily. So, yeah, yep. Yeah, I always advise. I mean, if you can download the course onto like an app on your phone, that would be beneficial.
Yeah, cell coverage can be hit or miss in some sections. So if you have it on a map that you can access offline on your phone, that's the best way to do it.
What else? Cool, they're ready.
Yeah.
Good job.
Everyone will be at the finish line.
Might be somewhat esoteric, but I just drove from sea level today, so any hints on acclimating?
No, you did it right. You did it right. So the best way to do, the two ways to do it is come up, do your race, and leave, and then or come up for 3 or 4 weeks, and then do your race and leave. Yeah. But you'll feel it, and respect it, and be okay with it, and be like, it sucks when I'm going uphill, but you should be fine on the downs. The flats you might, depending on the terrain, what you're kind of biking across, but the uphills will definitely tax you. Just slow down. Don't push through it. Respect it. Stay hydrated. And keep some calories going too. You can bonk easily up here too. So.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for doing this, and thanks for taking the time.
Yeah.
I know it's a busy week. Thanks to all you guys for coming out on such late notice. Appreciate it. Would have been lonely in here had you not shown up.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Vince.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.